Hey everyone, it is time for week number 3 of our countdown to Christmas stitch/quilt along because there's both. There's stitching and quilting. I never know what to call a quilt along or a stitch along. So, because to me, stitching means with a machine or by hand. But so that's usually if there's a lot of hand stitching, I say stitch along. If it's quilting, I just call it a quilt along. So I don't know what the rules are. Do any of you have any rules on what it should be? All right, so the quilt behind me, I'll give you a little update. This side is completely stitched. The bottom is completely stitched. The top is completely stitched except for the yellow stars and a little bit on the vines. And then on this side, I have all of the leaves and berries stitched. So I'm sliding down the hill now. I'm going to be done today, whether it kills me. I kind of goofed off yesterday a little bit. I was going to work hard and then I lost my ambition. Does that happen to any of you? Yeah. Right? All right. I just love to let you know when things go awry a little bit. So I just want to remind you about that one cutting error that we found way on the bottom here on week 1's directions. So luckily, if you listened to me and said only cut your blocks out this week, you'd be fine. But it's an obvious mistake when you see it because it says you're going to cut a 4.5 by width of fabric strip, and then you're going to subcut 2.5 by 4.5. And then we had a boo-boo saying 2.5 by 6.5. Well, that's not a 4.5-inch cut. Do you see where that doesn't make sense? So it should have been 4.5 by 6.5. This is on our blog under corrections. You can print this whole page out again, so it is right for you. But I just don't want to miss anybody because I know not everybody watches me. And I put it in the stitch group over the weekend to make sure that people were aware of it. It's not detrimental because there is enough fabric, because you all know that I always give you, a nice little hunk at the end just in case we have any things like this, because I miscut too sometimes, right? Okay. So before we start, do we have any questions on anything? Did you find any questions in there?
This was a specific one about the knots.
All right. Oh yeah, okay, let's talk about this. So Sarah says, does anyone have any tips for making knots and securing them when stitching lettering? The 2 letters I had at the end knot came undone, so now I'm trying to decide how to secure them. A little glue, a little fray check, something like that works. But just always make sure that your knot is substantial, like a 2-time around knot when you're working with 5-weight. And then leave the tail, right? And then stitch. And then when you're done, you can either bury that tail and then clip it, because then it'll be underneath the fusible web. And then you see how it's not going to come undone. And that's how I kind of do my beginnings and ends. If you ever see me do the video, I think I did one the first week of this on some of those things. But yeah, if you already have these little itty bitty things coming out, a little bit of glue is not going to kill you. All right, you just kind of have to do what you have to do. Or worst case scenario, I would unstitch some of that and then restitch it, so you have enough to thread your needle, bury that, make a knot, and then restitch. So those are some options for you, Sarah. Okay, but that was an excellent question. We love excellent questions, and there are no dumb questions, okay? Because we're all at different stages of stitching, and some of you know what to do because you've been here with me for 20-some years, but some of them might just be picking up a needle and doing wool for the first time. So I love it when you guys run to the rescue in our Stitch with Lisa Bongean group on Facebook and help them with any of their questions. And sometimes I just let you guys answer them. If you answer it right, I don't stick my 2 cents in. Sometimes I automatically just answer and you guys already did answer it, but that's okay, right? And no worries. So we're all here to help you with anything that you might have. All right, so this week's clue or cutting or stitching directions are pretty easy, but I know that some people just kind of freak out when they do this. Now in the directions, sometimes we'll tell you to like draw a line on your square, because those are the way that we've all been taught to do that. You like when you make this stitch and flip unit here. So what you're doing is ahead of time, you would take all these little squares and you would draw a line with your friction pen and your little ruler here, and you would mark all these lines, right? Like so. You would take your friction pen, well, if it works, you know, these things after so long, they just quit working. So I can't, let's see if I can get that to maybe back and forth. Am I the only one whose friction pens quit working after a little while? Yeah, it's not working. I'll just use this one. A regular pen. Probably wouldn't necessarily want to do that, but just for this video's sake, this ain't going to go in anybody's quilt here. All right. So see how we do that? Well, that takes time to do that to 288 of them. And I'm all about saving time. So if you can kind of zoom in here a little, Kaylee, on our stitch and flip tape that we have. Some of you might have a different one from a different company. But I played with this for about 9 months before I decided it was worthy enough for us to sell. And what I like about it, it's clear, it's lightweight. It does leave a little residue sometimes when you're pulling them on and off, but that a little bit of glue gone and that comes off. But this is it. You would peel it back, stitch it on, stick it onto your sewing machine. You can cut it. You can make it as long as you want. But it really works really well because this right here, this middle line is where your needle is. That eliminates drawing all of those things on 288 squares. So I hope that makes sense for you. All right, so I just did a quick one, and I did one where I press the seams open. A lot of times when you do stitch and flip, it's very easy just to press them back. But I don't think it's as accurate if you just do that. If you're really good at it, it's okay. So I'm going to show you both ways here, and we'll see what happens when I do it. So I'm going to stitch one, and I'm going to press the seams open, and I'm going to stitch another one, and I'm just going to press the seams back. Okay, so let's see what happens. And they may turn out just fine, but for some reason, I think it's easier or more accurate if you press those open. So I'm just going to chain stitch these. All right, so what I'm doing is right sides together, laying it on the corner, and I'm putting this under my needle, and then you see where I have this really close. Now, this line right here is on this point of this square. So as I run this through, I'm looking here on this line and I'm following that line with this point, and that's what eliminates drawing those lines. So I'm not looking here, I'm looking here. And that last inch or so without it is no big deal. You can just look where you want to stitch to, and that's, you'll end up there. Okay, so now I'm just going to clip off these corners here, and then I'm going to press this one back, purge my iron, and then this one I'm going to trim off, and this one, I don't remember what I did, it was that 2 seconds ago. I'm just going to give this one a press open. All right, so there I've done one both ways, and they look really good. So I'm not saying it can't be done, I just want to show you that sometimes they are a little bit more accurate pressing that seam open. All right, so you can also do this. I just want to show you a couple other ways. You can always put that on there and trim if you want them all to be a perfect 1/4 inch away from your stitching line. You can do that if that's easier for you. And remember, at the end of the day, you have to use the method that works the best for you. All right, so this one is just a push back like that. And then this one is an open. So I'm just going to give this a little finger press. All right, so let's see how they line up to each other once. Yeah, they're pretty good. So what we need to have on these units is this nice 1/4 inch point here. So there should be exactly that 1/4 inch right there. So when we're putting this together on the quilt here, we hit that nicely. All right. And once in a while, you know, you'll get into that a little bit, but for the most part, you hit them pretty good just by doing that simple method there. So you can pick which way you want to press. No right or no wrong way. Pressing is pretty much a preference, but easy peasy. Now you just need to do 144 of these. So you will have several of them, and you will package them with 4 of these to go with each of your stars here. So you have 4 of these going around there. Okay. All right. So do we have any? I got some winners for this week on that we've been posting on Facebook, or a winner. I'm sorry. And but do we have any other questions? Okay. I'm really having trouble with the lettering using the 5-way and having the background fabric look smooth. It's all puckery. Yeah, because you didn't steam it yet. All right, Jody. So it's okay that it looks, you know, wrinkly and puckery. Just remember to relax and not pull your fabrics tight. But everyone's looks puckery. Look at how puckery my whole quilt looks here. So it really does not look unpuckery until it's actually quilted, because that batting gets behind it, the quilting goes on. But you will steam those blocks when you are all done, and most of that will come out, but then it's still going to look puckery. And can you get a close-up of that so they can kind of see that? I don't know if you can. So here's what we're talking about when you see. All right, so see the letters up here? Can you get this one? All right, we're going to see if we can get really close up here. So I think she's talking about like all this little puckering in here. See that, Jody, now that you got close up to mine? That's normal, all right? And then once it's quilted and washed, a lot of that and that starch goes away. If you do wash your quilt, that starch will go away, but it'll definitely soften up once that batting is behind it. And you can always steam it too if you don't wash it. And that batting, I think, will help with that as well. Okay, so it's completely normal if you're not pulling too tight too. All right. All right, what else we got going on here? All right, I was a little hesitant on the stitch and flip tape, but once I tried it, I fell in love with it. Yes, it is very much a time saver. It is accurate, and you can, like, this stuff is very, if you wanted it a little bit closer, you can actually put it on your this what do we call this thing here? I can't even think right now. Huh? Yeah, the stitch plate. Good, Kaylee. The stitch plate here, and this trim where it's, you know, like going on to your thing that comes apart here. See how I trimmed my tape off? Here, I got to go underneath here and pop that off. So mine is trimmed right here and right here, but I could probably have put that a little bit closer, but I'm pretty confident that I can follow just that little smidge to the end of the point without having that line there. But I hope this all makes sense for you today, and I hope this makes your stitching a little bit easier. Now you have a couple decisions, whether you want to press open or whether you want to just press it back. Either one works fine. But when I was at Naughty or Nice, Dana was talking about how she loves to press these open. So I thought I would give you that tip of pressing these open. I don't know if these, I could tell you, right? Those are not pressed open. It was hard for me to tell at first. All right, and Alicia did this one. Okay.
One more question.
Yep.
How do you store your quilt?
How do I? Well,
Depends on which quilts you're
do I have to be honest or can I just fib? Well, I mean, how do I store my quilts? Like my Christmas quilts, like after Christmas, where are they going to go? They're going to go live in a cupboard of all Christmas quilts. Right? But like some of my other things are just in, most of my quilts are in cupboards or shelving units and stuff like that. I always try to fold them right side in, but sometimes not because they're not as pretty that way. All right. And you like to see them on the shelf. I think my stack of quilts are just as much a decoration as a stack as when you pull them out. But all kinds of ways. I hang them a lot. I roll them. Yeah, you know, lots of shelving units in my world, though. That's what I would say. The most of my quilts are folded right side in and going on a shelf.
You need to explain that though. You have like a closet with shelves from the floor to the ceiling.
Yeah. So my doggies used to have a room that they used to hang out, and it's probably like 7 by 10, or no, it's not that wide. What is it? Maybe 6. Because it can't be smaller than that. Because it's like 6 by 10. It's like a little narrow room, and it's 3 walls around filled with shelving, and we just pile them from floor to ceiling all the way up. And then here I have another closet of quilts over here. So yeah, we're constantly doing that. Do make wooden quilt display ladders. Do we? Or do you? Do we? Yeah, we do. We make some really fun ones. We make some that just hang on the walls. We do can make the stand, like if you want it to lean against the wall, we do have some of those. We do have some freestanding ones. We have some that go like this and open like a book. And we have quilts on both sides. We do all kinds of things here. We have an in-house carpenter, so he just pretty much does whatever we want him to do. All right. Anything else? All right. So that's it for today. When is I'll pick the winner. When is the download ready for today? Are they like 5, or when has Jackson been doing them?
Well, it's ready to, as far as if you're just download or buying the block by block, those are up. I don't know if the email went out. I'm not sure if he has a designated time or.
Okay. All right. You guys know the drill by now, right? You've been doing this for a while. What's the matter?
I just want to make sure you want all these. Yeah.
Just put them in my bin first. I'll give them to her when I'm ready. All right. So for week number 2, the winner is Quilting Flyer. All right. With no G, just an IN. All right. You are this week's winner. We will get you a prize for that. And contact Heidi there and give you your physical address so we can mail that to you. There is her photo. Look at how far she is and how beautiful she's doing. And I'm like, whoa, we're already on Santa. And then I remembered it's in the middle of the quilt and you get one a day. So yeah, we're already day 16. Isn't that crazy how fast it goes? Hopefully by the time we're done, I'll have this border stitch. No, today. I keep saying this weekend, but
Bonnie says that the email did go out and hers are already printed.
All right. Good job, everyone. So we're on it today. Nobody's waiting. So we had one day, just out for you all know, we had one day that people were like, where am I now? Well, Jackson was like deathly sick in bed and like nobody knew, like he was not here. So, you know, we had to contact Ma to go poke him up and get him up to post that for you because, you know what happens when men are sick? We would not go to bed until we posted it and then we'd go crash, right? But you know how men are. They forget anything when they're sick. But hopefully you didn't wait too long. All right, everyone. That's all I have for you this week. I can't wait to see all of your blocks. It's so fun when I go on there, when I need a break from my stitching, to see what you have been up to. So take care, and we will see you next week for the ending of the series on the 23rd. We're going to give you all the blocks that day, and then we are going to go over finishing. All right. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you back here next week at Primitive Gatherings, where every stitch tells a story.